If you want to get your dog trained and you're talking to dog trainers, there's something that you want to be very aware of, and that is the consultation. So I'm going to be talking about this over the next few minutes, and hopefully you can get a lot of information on this topic so that it allows you to properly screen the trainer so that you know you're leaving your dog with somebody that is trustworthy and somebody you feel confident with. Now that I went over the different types of trainers that are out there and what training is about, now we're going to be talking about the consultation. So the consultation process is very, very important. Okay, this is where you as the dog owner get to explain to the potential trainer that's going to be helping you what the issues, what the details are. Okay, so it's very important because it allows the trainer to get a pretty good idea of how they can help you. It also allows you to get a pretty good idea of what you're dealing with as well. In my opinion, every dog trainer should offer some sort of consultation. Okay, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I can tell you, just having worked with so many clients, it is very, very important that you get to talk to a person that is going to be taking care of your animal. During the consultation, you want to be very transparent. You have to just be comfortable letting this stranger know everything that bothers you about your dog. Some people don't want to be fully transparent. They feel embarrassed. They don't want to be judged, but this is not the time for reservations. You have to be transparent so that the more information you give this trainer during this consultation, the more this person will be able to help you. All right, now I'm gonna go over different consultation types. So there's different ways for you to get the details of your situation to this prospect trainer. So one of them is the website form or email or text. This is the least personal way to get in touch with the trainer. It's very hands-off. There is no commitment there. So a lot of people feel comfortable reaching out via text, email, or website form. And a lot of trainers offer that as an option. A lot of pet owners like this because it's non-committal. They don't have to actually commit to an actual phone call. It is the least personal, and most trainers will give you the option to do that, but there should obviously be more than that. The next type of consultation is the phone call, right? The phone consultation. The phone consultation is better. This is where the trainer gets to ask you questions. This is where you get to know each other a little bit more. In my opinion, this is a must. Unless there is an in-person consultation to be had, the phone consultation is definitely a must. You don't want to just arrange through email or a text, yeah, drop them off on this date. To me, that's a huge red flag. I just don't see any upside to that. I've actually had clients who were burned by previous trainers for doing something similar, where they just communicated through email. They say, yeah, drop them off on this date. There was no contact, and then their dogs did horrible, did not do well. So I believe that you need to get to know this person. So at least you need to be able to talk to them. Okay, there needs to be at least some sort of either in-person consultation or at the very least a phone consultation. The other type of consultation is the consultation at the trainer's facility. At least you can talk to a person in person. At least you can ask them, shake their hands, look at what they're doing, look at their facility, and at least talk to them. If the phone consultation is not a thing, like if you just arrange through email and you skip the phone call, at least there needs to be an in-person consultation. There needs to be some way for you to ask this person questions. So at the facility, a lot of times what happens is the dog, if you bring your dog with you, the dog doesn't act the same. You need to be aware of that. Sometimes your dog that is very pushy does certain things. You bring your dog to the facility, to the trainer's place for a consultation, you'll see your dog will act completely different. So that is very normal. Your dog is just out of its norm. It's not in its environment. So the dog is in a new place going, whoa, what is going on here? So it is something to be expected. The trainer should be aware of this. The trainer should communicate that to you if you have never seen this behavior in your dog before. The other type of consultation is the consultation in your home. So it's an in-home consultation. Some trainers will offer this, especially if they do private lessons at your place. So they'll do a consultation at your place. I used to do this before as well. So you'll go to as the trainer, you'll go to the person's home where the dog lives. So if this trainer arranges to come to your place, that's great. You also get to talk to somebody, you get to ask them questions, they get to ask you questions, they get to know your dog. But the thing to remember here is your dog is in his territory. Some of the closest calls to me getting bit were at people's houses, because what happens is the dog is in its environment, it's in its territory. So the dog now has a stranger coming into the house, and the dog goes, who the heck are you? You know, I'm this big bad dog, and this can be a little bit tricky. So the trainer should give you an idea of what to expect. I used to always tell people, look, when I get there, I don't want to see the dog right away, right? I want the dog to be in a different room so I can talk to you, and then I'll get to know the dog a little bit more. And it always went smooth when that happened. But what I had happen a couple of times is I would have people bring their dogs out just because they wanted to see what happens, right? They'd be like, oh, he's a trainer, he'll know. And then they'll open the door. You do not want to do that. You do not want to risk your dog biting somebody, okay? You don't want that to happen to another person. Hopefully you don't. But also you don't want your dog to experience that. You don't want your dog to feel like it has to bite somebody that came into their home. So safety is a top priority here. Another thing about the in-home consultations is that some trainers will charge you a fee for it because they are going out of their way. They're taking time out of their schedule to go to your home. So this does cost money. So some trainers will give it to you for free, but some trainers will charge you for it, or they'll give you the option, right? If I go to your place, it's gonna be this much. If you come to me, it's gonna be free. Now I'm gonna give you an idea of what to expect during the consultation. So there's gonna be a lot of questions asked. It's not just like a handshake and, hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, that's your dog, we'll take care of it. There needs to be more context there. So normally you're gonna get some of these questions. Your dog's basic information like their age, how much they weigh, that kind of stuff. They're also gonna ask you is if your dog is intact or altered. Has it had its testicles removed? Has it been spayed? They're gonna ask you when you acquired the dog. They're also gonna ask you about other types of dogs. So do you have any other dogs in the house? It's another question I ask. Some people will call me about a particular dog, but I want to know, do you have any other dogs? I want to see what role the other dogs play into this. Even if you think it means nothing, the other dogs are not doing anything, there are times in which it is a factor. They're also going to ask you about other people in your house. They're going to ask you who else lives with you, right? What's your schedule like? I do this because, again, I understand that these things that seem insignificant, they're not insignificant. The number of people that live with you, their age, what they do, you know, what their schedule is like. It might seem like they're being nosy, but they're not being nosy. They're just trying to get a pretty good idea of what the home dynamics are for your dog, because that can have a huge effect on their behavior. They're gonna ask you about your dog's daily routine, about their exercise, if they get any exercise, how much exercise they're getting. So they are gonna ask you plenty of questions regarding that. They're gonna ask you, is your dog under any medication, any sort of supplement? Has your dog ever bit anybody? Does it have an aggression history? All these things, this is where you want to be transparent, like I mentioned earlier. A big one for me as a trainer is I'll ask, is your dog crate trained? That's a big one for me because your dog, if you're leaving your dog with somebody else, they're gonna get either crated or kenneled. So this question should come up so that if your dog is an escape artist or if your dog hurts itself trying to get out, this is a big thing that the trainer needs to know. They're also going to ask you about training history. So whether you've trained the dog yourself or whether you've brought your dog to somebody else, that is such valuable information. It really is important. You might go, you know, I had a bad experience with 3 trainers in the past. I don't even want to talk about them, but it is important. Like I will ask you, okay, what did you do? What kind of training did they do? What happened? Did it get better? Did it get worse? What did you notice? This is important because it'll give me an idea of what baggage I'm dealing with, right? Or it'll also give me an idea of maybe your dog already has some basics. That way I don't need to start from zero. I could definitely assess, but maybe I just need to sharpen up what they already kind of know. If there was a question that did not get asked, if there is information that did not come up, it is your job for your dog's sake to bring that up. So if there is something your dog did that did not come up in the consultation, right, if you go, yeah, he did this weird thing, I don't know why he did it, but suddenly he did this and surprised us all. If that's something that did not come up, trust me, it's very, very important. Just to give you a quick example, one time I was doing an in-home consultation and the dog was relatively doing pretty well. I was getting to know the dog, we were training, and then I bent over to just grab something off my bag and the dog flipped its mind. I mean, it lost it. It came right up to my neck. That is the closest call I've ever had. I mean, came right up to my neck, started growling on my neck. I could feel the snarling, the spit on my neck. I froze, and then the owner, was able to carefully remove the dog. So then when I asked her, wow, what, I did not see that happen, the owner told me, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. For some weird reason, he hates it when people bend over or when people crouch. He just loses it. And I think to myself, I would have never thought to ask that. I would have never thought to ask, does your dog get weird when people bend over? Why would you think of asking that, right? But if you as the owner know there is something that triggers your dog, if there's something that has happened in the past, even if it didn't come up on the consultation, it is your responsibility to bring it up. So in general, the trainer will basically ask you some of these questions or all of these questions or possibly more of these questions, but I want to emphasize you want to talk to a person. Also, remember, this is not an interview. It is and it isn't. So if I'm talking to a client on a consultation basis and I'm talking to them, whether it's on the phone or whatever, as I'm talking to them, or if they come to visit and we're talking, right, I'm asking questions. I want to get to know the dog. If the prospect client is asking me questions that seem to indicate that I'm in the hot seat, that I'm being interviewed, I don't even want to deal with them, right? I'm not there to try to please you, to hopefully you hire me. I want to get as much information from you so that I can best determine how I can help you. So if you start using these tactics, which we all know when you're doing it, we all know when you're telling people, when you're telling trainers, well, I'm also interviewing other trainers because I want to make sure I know which one is right. You have every right to do that, but you just don't want to convey that. The trainer might actually be genuinely trying to help you. You don't want to make them feel like they're just one of several trainers you're contacting and they got to try their best to impress you. That's not going to happen. It will work for maybe some that are desperate, but in general, we're not. We want to help you out. Do you want to get... Okay, that's not it.